Imagine writing a check for $7,400 because you ignored a part smaller than your thumb. It happens every single week. A Ram 1500 owner rolls into my shop. Engine knocking, metal in the oil, lifter failure. And every single time they say the same thing. Nobody told me. Today, I'm telling you, this $18 sensor is the only thing standing between your Hemi and a scrap pile. Let's destroy the confusion. Here is the reality most dealerships hide from you. The 5.7L Hemi has a fatal flaw. It's not the camshaft. It's not the valves. It's oil starvation at idle. When that happens, your lifters collapse, your camshaft wipes out, and suddenly, your truck is a yard ornament. But here's the scary part. You won't hear a thing until the damage is already done. So what does that failure actually cost? Let me stack the receipts for you. A full Hemi replacement at a dealer? $6,800 to $9,200? Add a rental truck for 3 weeks. Add towing. Add lost work if you use your truck for a living. You are easily looking at $8,000 to $10,000 out of pocket. And insurance won't cover mechanical failure. That money is gone. Forever. And this is where most owners get trapped. They think the engine just got old. No, it got murdered by low oil pressure. And you never saw it coming. So what's the $18 solution? It's not a magic additive. It's not a tune. It's the oil pressure sensor. Specifically, the factory sensor in your Ram 1500 is slow, lazy, almost useless in real time. By the time your dash light comes on, your bearings are already touching metal. Wait, it gets worse. That sensor also controls your MDS system, multi-displacement system. When oil pressure drops, MDS tries to engage, at the wrong time, at idle. That's what collapses the lifter. That's what kills the cam, and almost nobody catches this in time. This next part is what destroys engines completely. MDS stands for fuel saving mode, but in reality, it's an engine killer in disguise. Here's how it works. At highway speeds, MDS shuts down 4 cylinders. That's fine. That's designed. But at idle, in parking lots, in drive-thrus, the system still monitors pressure. And if your oil pressure sensor reads falsely high or falsely low, the computer gets confused. Confused computer, yonder wrong commands to lifters. Wrong commands, Sanj collapsed lifter roller. Collapsed roller drives flat camshaft lobe. Flat lobe, you jar metal shavings through your entire oil system. That's not a repair. That's a funeral. So what do professional mechanics do? We replace the $18 pressure sensor with a high-resolution unit. Or we relocate it using a simple adapter. That's it. No engine pull. No special tools. Just 20 minutes and basic hand tools. But here's the scary part. Most owners will spend $400 on cold air intakes before spending $18 on the part that actually saves the engine. That's backwards thinking, and it costs people thousands every single day. Let me tell you about Mark. He owns a landscaping company. 3 Ram 1500s in his fleet. One morning, his 2019 starts ticking. Just a little. He ignores it. 2 weeks later, the ticking is louder. He calls me. I tell him to check oil pressure. He doesn't have a gauge, just the dummy light. I tell him to replace the sensor immediately. He says, I'll do it next month. 31 days later, I'm looking at a camshaft that looks like a chewed-up pencil. $7,400 quote. Mark sold the truck for parts. Lost $18,000 in value, all because of an $18 sensor. And this is where most owners get trapped. They think small part means small problem. No, small part fails. Big engine dies. Simple math. Now you might be thinking, why doesn't the dealer warn me about this? Great question. Because dealers are not in the prevention business. They are in the replacement business. A $18 sensor makes them zero profit. A $7,000 engine replacement makes their month. That's not a conspiracy. That's just the business model. Your truck is a revenue stream to them, not a family asset. Wait, it gets worse. Some manufacturers have actually slowed down the response time of oil sensors on purpose to reduce nuisance warnings. That means the computer waits. It waits to see if the pressure drop is real. And while it's waiting, your engine is eating itself alive. Let me get mechanical for 30 seconds. This matters. At idle, your Hemi needs about 25 psi of oil pressure to keep lifters pumped up. When the factory sensor is slow, it might not report a drop to 18 psi for 4 or 5 seconds. In those 5 seconds, the lifter bleeds down. Once a Hemi lifter bleeds down, it rotates slightly in the bore. That rotation misaligns the roller with the camshaft lobe. Now you have metal on metal grinding at 800 RPM. That's like rubbing sandpaper on a polished mirror. The mirror always loses, and the ticking time bomb just started counting down. Here's what most owners misdiagnose. They hear a tick at startup. They think exhaust manifold. They hear a tick at warm idle. They think injectors. They hear a tick under load. They think lifter tick and ignore it. But here's the real secret. A failing oil pressure sensor creates intermittent ticks, not constant. Why? Because the pressure reading fluctuates randomly. 1 second, the computer thinks pressure is fine. Next second, it thinks pressure is 0. So it commands the MDS solenoids on and off, rapidly. That on-off cycling is what kills lifters faster than anything else. And almost nobody catches this in time. So how do you know if your sensor is lying? Buy a mechanical oil pressure gauge. Tend at any part store. Screw it into the port next to your oil filter. Start the engine. Compare the mechanical reading to your dash gauge. If they don't match within 3-4 psi, your sensor is lying. Replace it that same day, not next week, not after payday, today. Because here's the financial math. $18 sensor plus 20 minutes, we're at $7,000 saved. That is a 38,000% return on investment. No stock on earth gives you that. Let me be specific so you don't guess. Every Ram 1500 with the 5.7L Hemi from 2009 to 2024 is at risk. That includes Ram Classic, Ram Rebel, Ram Laramie, Ram Limited. TRX? No, that's a Hellcat. Different problem. But you're fine. If you have the 6.4L Hemi and a 2500, same sensor, same risk. If you have the 3.6L Pentastar, different issue, but still watch your pressure. The danger years are 2014 through 2019. Those sensors fail most often. But here's the scary part. The newer 2020 Plus trucks have the same part number, same slow response, same failure mode. Nothing changed. Because it's cheaper for them to replace engines than redesign sensors. Let that sink in. You'll see products online. Lifter additive, oil thickener, cam saver. Most of that is expensive snake oil. If your sensor is lying to the computer, no additive can fix that. The computer doesn't feel oil thickness. It reads voltage from a sensor. Bad voltage, done bad commands, done dead engine. The only fix is replacing the sensor or installing a pressure bypass adapter. Those adapters cost $45, still cheaper than a single shop hour. And this is where most owners get trapped. They spend $300 on mechanic in a bottle instead of $18 on the actual problem. That's not maintenance. That's denial. And denial is expensive. If you want to do this yourself, here's the short version. Locate the sensor, driver's side, behind the intake manifold, near the oil filter housing. Unplug the harness. Use a 27mm deep socket. Remove the old sensor. Apply a tiny amount of thread sealant, not Teflon tape. Teflon tape shreds and clogs oil passages. Screw in the new sensor. Torque it to 15 foot-pounds. Not tight. Snug. Plug the harness back in. Clear the codes with a $20 scanner if the check engine light comes on. Start the engine. Watch the pressure gauge. If it reads steady between 25 and 60 psi depending on RPM, you just saved your engine. Total time, 20 minutes. Total cost, under 30. That's cheaper than a tank of gas. And it protects a $7,000 engine. Most drivers trust the dashboard. That is a mistake. By the time your Ram's low oil pressure light turns red, you already have damage. That light triggers at 6 psi. At 6 psi, your lifters are already bleeding down. Your cam is already touching metal. Your bearings are already wearing. That light is not a warning. It's an autopsy report. Wait, it gets worse. Some Rams don't even have a pressure gauge, just an idiot light. That means you could be running at 15 psi for months. No warning, no light, no sound. And then one day, tick, 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 knock. That knock is your connecting rod saying goodbye. And that's a $9,000 bill. I work with fleet owners. They manage 20, 50, even 100 trucks. You know what they do? They replace oil pressure sensors every 50,000 miles. Not when they fail. Before they fail. Because one dead engine costs more than 100 sensors. That's the math professionals use. Amateurs wait for symptoms. Professionals prevent them. And if you want to avoid costly mistakes like this, stick around, because next week I'm showing you the transmission cooler line failure that floods Ram interiors with hot fluid. It's disgusting and expensive. But back to this sensor. If your Ram has over 100,000 miles, listen carefully. Your sensor is already tired. The internal diaphragm gets stiff. The voltage signal gets noisy. The computer sees noisy signal. It doesn't know what to do, so it defaults to safe mode. Safe mode locks out MDS. That's actually good. But here's the problem. Safe mode also changes fuel trims, changes shift points, changes idle speed. Now your engine is working harder, hotter, under more stress, and you don't even know why. All because a $18 part drifted out of spec. and almost nobody catches this in time. Let me paint you a bad Tuesday. You're driving home. 5 p.m. Traffic. The ticking starts. You pull over. Check oil. It's full. You keep driving. Ticking gets louder. Then the engine stalls at a red light. Won't restart. You call a tow truck. On 75, they take you to the nearest shop. It's 6 p.m. They're closed. You get a rental. $85 for the day. Next morning, the shop calls. Your camshaft is destroyed. $7,400 to fix. You have no choice. You approve the repair. 3 days later, you pick up the truck. Plus rental, plus towing, plus lost overtime. Final total, $8,200. And it all started with an 18-hour sensor you never even knew existed. That's not bad luck. That's a design flaw. And you just paid for it. Now, a quick insider warning. Don't buy the $9 sensor on Amazon. It will fail in 6 months, sometimes less. The cheap ones use plastic internals. They swell with heat. They stick closed. Then your pressure reads maxed out all the time. That's actually worse than a failed sensor, because now the computer thinks pressure is perfect, even when it's not. So MDS engages at idle, lifters collapse, metal shavings, death rattle, engine killer, $8,000 mistake. Buy OEM, or buy a quality brand like Standard Motor Products or NTK. Spend the extra $7. It's still cheaper than a single fast food meal. And it protects your entire engine. You'll hear people say run thicker oil. 5W30 instead of 5W20. Some even run 10W40. Don't do that. Thicker oil slows down the MDS solenoids, makes the problem worse. It also reduces fuel economy, increases engine wear on cold starts. And here's the real killer. Thicker oil doesn't fix a bad sensor. The computer still reads wrong voltage. You're just masking the symptom while the damage continues. That's like putting a bandage on a broken arm. The bone is still shattered. You just can't see it. And this is where most owners get trapped. They try cheap workarounds instead of fixing the actual problem. Fix the sensor, not the oil, not the additives, not the prayers, the sensor. So here's where you stand right now. You have 3 choices. Choice 1, ignore this video. Assume your truck is fine. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But you're gambling $7,000 on a coin flip. Choice 2, replace the sensor next oil change. Spend 18 on, spend 20 minutes. Never worry about lifter failure again. Choice 3, wait for the tick, then pay the tow truck, then pay the shop, then post an angry comment on my video saying, I wish I saw this sooner. I see those comments every week, and every time I feel bad, because I told you, the part is $18. The engine is $7,000. Ignore this, and you'll pay for it. Simple. If you just saved $7,000 by watching this video, do 2 things. First, go replace that sensor this weekend. Don't wait. Second, hit subscribe, because I'm exposing every hidden failure point in the Ram 1500, one video at a time. Next up, the transmission fluid leak that Ram refuses to recall, and it's destroying trucks right now. Until then, check your oil pressure. Trust no dummy light, and protect your investment. This is mechanic advice that actually saves money. See you in the next one.